Here are the 17 countries practicing Buddhism in Asia.
Hafadai.
Northern Mariana Islands are one of the lands that practices Buddhism. Northern Mariana Islands, are also called as Northern Marianas, is composed of 22 islands and islets in the western Pacific Ocean. The Buddhism in Northern Mariana Island, according to the Pew Research Center in 2010, is that Buddhists constitute 10.6% of the population of Northern Mariana Island. The Japanese occupation had the effect of creating a sizable Buddhist community which remained even after their departure. With that being said, the Japan has influenced the Northern Mariana Islands to remain the religion Buddhism.
Sawadika, Thailand. The official religion in Thailand is Theravada Buddhism, practiced by more than 95% of the population and by many who reside in Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia. Small tokens in this religion are seen in the most inconspicuous of places around the country. Visitors will find daily reminders of Buddhism during their travels, from towering temples found along the Khao Phraya River to spirit houses protecting buildings and more across the country. Buddhism is a key component to the identities of many Thais. Many will give the daily offering to things like spirit houses. Others will sporadically feed many soy, street dogs to make merit. By making and gaining merit, many Thais believe they will live longer and happier lives. Some people will also wear Buddhist amulets in order to protect themselves.
Flying to our next Buddhism country destination, Mongolia.
Sembanu.
Buddhism is the largest religion of Mongolia, practiced by mostly 53% of Mongolia's population. According to the 2010 Mongolia census, Buddhism in Mongolia derives much of its recent characteristics from Tibetan Buddhism of the Gelug and Kagya lineages, but is distinct and presents its own unique characteristics. Most Mongols practice the Yellow Hat sect of Tibetan Buddhism. Buddhism was introduced from Tibet to Mongolia in the beginning of the 13th century. In the second half of the 16th century, it became the state religion of the Mongol princes. The Mongols were also captivated by Buddhism, particularly the Tibetan form of Buddhism, and they recruited a number of Tibetan monks to help them rule China and promote the interest of Buddhism. The Buddhists entered the service of the Mongol Empire in the early 13th century. Buddhist monasteries established in the Karakoram were granted tax-exempt status, though the religion was not given official status by the Mongols until later.
안녕하세요, Korea. Among 4,010, 500 small land and big mountains, you will never fail to find an old Buddhist temple. To Korean people, Buddhism is more than just a religion. It is the heart of Korean culture. Along Protestantism, Buddhism is one of the most believed religions for Koreans today. A variety of Buddhist cultures such as tea ceremonies and cultures of food are deeply embedded in everyday lives of Koreans. For example, temple stays have made their marks as a symbol of Korean culture more than just a unique opportunity to experience Buddhism. It provides a peaceful place for rest and meditation. Thus, Buddhism is kept to life in a modern society in many ways.
Xin Chào, Vietnam. Buddhism is one of the four primary religions and philosophies that shape the spiritual life of the Vietnamese people. It is estimated that more than 60% of Vietnamese people practice some form of Buddhism, and both of these two main schools, Mahayana and Theravada, are presented. Mahayana, or Great Vehicle, predominates due to the powerful historic influence of the Chinese. It was introduced in northern Vietnam during the 3rd century. The ultimate goal of Buddhism is the cessation of suffering and attainment of nirvana. Nirvana can be achieved through a lifetime of strict adherence to the Eightfold Path, also known as the middle path because it steers a course between materialism and asceticism. Many Buddhists believe the inherent bad karma from previous lives, and ridding oneself of bad karma is accomplished by performing good deeds.
Assalamualaikum. Buddhism in Malaysia. Buddhism in Malaysia is the second largest religion in Malaysia after Islam. With 19.2% of Malaysia's population being Buddhist, although some estimates put that figure up to in Malaysia is mainly practiced by the ethnic Malaysian Chinese. This video was taken during the Wesak Day celebration that was held in Tibetan Buddhist temple, the Enlightened Heart in Ipoh, Perak, Malaysia. On Wesak Day, devotees were seen carrying the Lord Sakyamuni, Buddha or Lord Yellow Zambala idol on their back to get rid of bad karma. Every year, hundreds of devotees experience this ritual. The ritual of unfurling the giant canvas painting of Buddha into the outdoor sun. Devotees held it head high and get under it. This is to receive blessings and good luck from the Lord Sakyamuni Buddha.
Wei, Ni Hao Ma, Macau. Buddhism is the predominant religion in Macau, but it's not a state religion. The main religions of Macau are Buddhism, Roman Catholicism, and Islam. A blanket term of Chinese folk religion is used for minority religions that are Taoism and Confucianism. Confucianism and Taoism, later tied with Buddhism, constitutes the three teachings in Chinese culture. According to statistics, about 80% of population in Macau practice Buddhism. Buddhism has greatly influenced the culture and traditions of the residents in Macau. There are some influential Buddhist groups in Macau too, some of the popular ones being Macau Buddhism Society and Macau Buddhism Union. There are several Buddhist temples in Macau, such as the Guanyin Temple and others, that are popular tourist spots too. So this is the Buddha's popular tourist spot in Macau.
Buddhism in Nepal.
Buddhist missionaries from India and Tibet began spreading Buddhism in Nepal during the reign of Ashoka. The Kiratas were the first to accept Gautama Buddha's teachings, followed by the Lichavas and New Wars. Buddhism is the second most popular religion in Nepal. According to the 2001 census, 10.74% of Nepal's population practiced Buddhism, with the newer ethnicity speaking Tibeto-Burman. There are three main traditions of Buddhism followed in Nepal, namely the Theravada, Mahayana, and the Vajrayana. Respect for the Buddha is the fundamental concept in all the Buddhist schools.
Ni Hao Ma, China.
Chinese Buddhism is one of the oldest forms of Buddhism in history and China's oldest foreign religion. Chinese Buddhists believe in a combination of Taoism and Mahayana Buddhism, the latter of which teaches that enlightenment can be achieved in a single lifetime. Mahayana Buddhism was originally founded during the Kushan Empire and spread to China, where various school sects were developed, before spreading farther and becoming popular in other Asian countries like Japan. One significant difference between Chinese Buddhism and original Buddhist teachings is the belief that Buddha is not just a teacher who taught followers what to do, but a god to be prayed to for help and salvation. Chinese Buddhists believe in a combination of Taoism and Buddhism, meaning they pray to both Buddha and Taoist gods. Just like Taoists, Chinese Buddhists also pay homage to their ancestors with the belief that they need and want their help. A prime example of this combination of religious beliefs is the burning of joss paper by Buddhists during religious ceremonies and festivals like the annual Qingming Festival.
Buddhism in Taiwan.
Buddhism is one of the major religions in Taiwan. The Buddha's teachings are the source of Buddhism's religious and intellectual traditions. Mahayana Buddhism is a branch of Buddhism that emphasizes the Bodhisattva ideal of seeking full awakening through attaining perfections in morality and knowledge, while attempting to help others on their path to enlightenment. There are two main Mahayana Buddhist practices in Taiwan. First is the Chan, also known as Zen in Japanese, and Pure Land. Tantric Buddhism has recently grown in popularity in Taiwan, thanks in part to the Tibetan exile.
Sabaidi! Laos. Theravada Buddhism is the largest religion in Laos, which is practiced by 66% of the population. Lao Buddhism is a unique version of Theravada Buddhism and is at the basis of ethnic Lao culture. Buddhism in Laos is often closely tied to animist beliefs and belief in ancestral spirits, particularly in rural areas. Buddhism was the state religion of the Kingdom of Laos and the organization of the Buddhist community of monks and novices, the clergy, Sangha. Parallel the political hierarchy, the faith was introduced beginning in the 8th century by Mon-Buddhist monks and was widespread by the 14th century. A number of Laotian kings were important patrons of Buddhism. Virtually all lowland Lao were Buddhists, and early 1990s as well as some Lao Tayong who have assimilated to lowland culture. Since 1975, the communist government has not opposed Buddhism but rather has attempted to manipulate it to support political goals, and with some success, increased prosperity and relaxation of political control stimulated a revival of popular Buddhist practices in the early 1990s.
Singapore Buddhism Organization in Singapore founded in 1934. It is one of the oldest charities in Singapore. With the advent of religious freedom in modern-day Singapore, most Singaporeans that adhere to the Buddhist doctrine are a participant of at least one Buddhist organization, while also being actively involved in other beliefs that are presented across the diverse cosmopolitan culture. There is also an active female involvement in Singaporean Buddhism, which includes lay female followers as well as monastic nuns. Buddhists generally classify themselves as either from Theravada tradition or Mahayana tradition. Buddhism first appeared around the Singapore Straits during the 2nd century. Given the historic status of Singapore as a British trade port and colonial state, as well as a brief period of Japanese colonial rule during World War II. Over the centuries, a variety of Buddhist lineage from across the globe has appeared gradually on the island. They include Japanese and Western interpretation of the Tripitaka, although a substantial local presence have their origins dating back into historic Southeast and East Asian kingdoms.
Minasan konnichiwa. Japan.
Buddhism in Japan is more a part of the culture of Japan rather than a religion. This may seem odd to people belonging to religions like Christianity or Islam, but maybe this social influence is one of the unique characteristics of Japan. This influence on Japanese society began in the Edo period when Buddhism was used by the ruling shogunate or military government as a way to control the people. Later on, it was used to take a census and regulate the population. The majority of the people in Japan probably would not consider themselves to be Buddhist or belonging to any particular religion at all. However, many cultural traditions in Japan are derived from Buddhism. Buddhism has been practiced in Japan since about the 6th century CE. Japanese Buddhism has given birth to numerous new Buddhist schools, many of which trace themselves to Chinese Buddhist traditions. Japanese Buddhism has had a major influence on Japanese society and culture and remains an influential aspect to this day. According to the Japanese government's Agency for Cultural Affairs estimate, as of the end of 2018, with about 84 million or about 67% of the Japanese population. Buddhism was the religion in Japan with the second most adherents next to Shinto, though a large number of people practice elements of both.
Hong Kong Buddhism. Buddhism is a major religion in Hong Kong and it has had a significant impact on the local population traditional culture. The Qilin Nunnery in Diamond Hill, built in the Tang Dynasty architectural style. The Pauline Monastery on Lantau Island, famous for the outdoor bronze statue. Chaityan Buddha, which attracts a large number of visitors during weekends and holidays. And the Pauline Monastery on Lantau Island, famous for the outdoor bronze statue. Chaityan Buddha, which attracts a large number of visitors during weekends and holidays. In Hong Kong, Buddhist temple and organization have long been concerned in social welfare and education. The Hong Kong Buddhist Association, which has almost 10,000 members, runs a dozen primary and secondary schools, as well as senior homes and youth and children centers in Hong Kong.
Sri Lanka. Buddhism in Sri Lanka. Theravada Buddhism is the largest and official religion of Sri Lanka, practiced by 70.2% of the population as of 2012. Practitioners of Sri Lanka Buddhism can be found amongst the majority Sinhalese population as well as among the minority ethnic groups. Buddhism has given the firmest place under Article 9 of the Sri Lanka Constitution, which can be traced back to an attempt to bring the status of Buddhism back to the status it enjoys prior of the colonial era. However, by virtue of Article 10 of the Sri Lankan Constitution, the religious rights of communities are preserved. Sri Lanka is one of the oldest traditional Buddhist countries. The island has been a center of Buddhist scholarships and practice since the introduction of Buddhism.
Buddhism in Bhutan. Buddhism is the most widely practiced religion in Bhutan. Vajrayana Buddhism is the state religion of Bhutan, and Buddhists comprise 75% and Hinduism 23% of its population. Although the Buddhism practiced in Bhutan originated in Tibetan Buddhism, it differs significantly in its rituals, liturgy, and monastic organization. To bring Buddhism to the people, numerous symbols and structures are employed. Religious monuments, prayer walls, prayer flags, and sacred mantras carved in stone hillside are prevalent. Among the religious monuments are Chartan, the Bhutanese version of the Indian stupa. They range from simple rectangular house Chartan to complex edifices with ornate steps, doors, domes, and spires. Some are decorated with the Buddha's eyes that see in all directions simultaneously. These earth, brick, or stone structures commemorate deceased kings, Buddhist saints, venerable monks, and other notables, and sometimes they serve as reliquaries. To help propagate the faith, itinerant monks travel from village to village carrying portable shrines with many small doors, which open to reveal statues and images of the Buddha, Bodhisattvas, and notable lamas.
Minglar Bar, Myanmar.
Buddhism in Myanmar. Nearly 90% of the population of Myanmar, and it's predominantly of the Theravada tradition. It is the most religious Buddhist country in terms of proportion of monks in the population and proportion of income spent on religion. Adherents are most likely found among the dominant Bamar people, Shan, Rakhine, Mon, Karen, and Chinese who are well integrated into Burmese society. Monks are collectively known as the Shaha, are venerated members of Burmese society. Among many ethnic groups in Myanmar, including the Bamar and Sha, Theravada Buddhism is practiced in conjunction with the worship of nuns, which are spirits who intercept in worldly affairs.